Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Solutions Brewing Podcast. My name is Ian Stock, and I'm joined by my partners, Brendan and Rob, this week.
Hey-o.
And we are doing a recap of Beerfest, our big show. Depending on when this goes up, you may have heard our live at the Unicorn recording, or maybe not, depending if Brendan found that card reader or not.
Or if you listen to every episode that we release, that's
true.
A little bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
There's only like 3 or 4 people who actually are that dedicated. Like there's one out east, Mr. Ben. He's very dedicated. My sister-in-law as well.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to Ben and Krista.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we just completed Beerfest, and yeah, we talked a little bit of it on the live show, but yeah, let's kind of do a recap and rehash of how it went this time, because the big difference this time, we had our own kegs. Super interesting.
Yes, we had our own kegs, but nothing else. So we didn't have enough connectors to actually tap those kegs. So that was kind of funny. I had to borrow some from 948. Thank you, 948.
Yeah, we had to borrow some. And then we talked about getting a jockey box for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then rented one at the last friggin' minute because we're dumb.
And the jockey box came with keg connectors.
It did.
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah. So it was pretty funny. I scrambled for a bunch of extra connectors, and we ended up getting extras anyways, but
yeah.
it's all good. That, and then we forgot to label which kegs we had hooked up to which tap. So on the Friday we had them tapped and they were fine. And then the Saturday I went to put them back together and I did it backwards.
So our pale ale slowly got sour and our sour slowly got less sour.
Yeah, it became pale ale. Yeah. Once they finished through the coil. Yeah.
Well, fairly quickly. I mean, there's not that much volume in the coils.
Actually, we poured a fair amount of samples through there. It's probably like, I don't know, I'd say probably about 20 ounces worth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
More than you'd think, which is the interesting thing.
Which is what made it really confusing, because it was just like, man, we've been pouring these samples for a few times already, and it's like, this is weird.
Yeah, like we started up in the afternoon and we were fine, and then it's all of a sudden like, it's like, did you give me the pale ale? I was like, yeah, I gave you the pale ale. Well, this tastes pretty sour. And like I poured myself one and checked. I'm like, that's the Goza. And I checked the one on the left. And I'm like, but that's also Goza.
Yeah. So
no,
we were very fortunate in that didn't happen to like, we didn't give it to like a random person. It was Kelsey who actually ended up getting this.
It was my wife.
The sour pale. So we were like, whoa, that's good. We're incompetent, but we don't look incompetent.
Yes, we didn't say, but we were debuting our sour IPA.
That's right. Yeah,
Our sour pale ale, yeah.
Yeah.
Tastes a lot like
sour
a Goza.
pale ale, yeah.
It tastes remarkably like the Goza.
It goes back to that old Simpsons joke of the one beer pipe splitting into the 3 different...
Yeah, that was the Duff tube. Yeah, it was like...
Yeah, Duff Light and Duff Dark.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, it was a good show, good easy load in. If you listen to our last episode, then you kind of know all about that. Real slick, took all of 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was so remarkable that like we go in, there's like no one else there, so no time to drive in, drop off, and then we're like, well, now what do we do? Well, they're having a meet and greet at the Unicorn. I guess we can actually go to the meet and greet at the Unicorn. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Got a couple beers, and some snackies, which was great.
So after we finished our live recording, we did actually meet and greet with a number of other people there. The guys from The Pass Brewing, chatted with them for a while, and then the guys from Tiger Tea.
Yep. And
I'm
then
sure there was somebody else in there, but
there was the
bike rack.
Right, bike racks. Yeah. Which we did pitch on the live show. So
we did say that.
That's right.
But yeah, it was kind of fun because it was just a bunch of brewers and saw some old faces, and but it was hilarious because some people came up to us afterwards and like were you guys doing a podcast? And I was like, oh yeah, like bring the gear and let's shoot a shot sort of thing. And then everyone's like, oh, like I don't know if I should go over and interrupt them or anything. It's like, who gives a shit? Like it's
you guys are super pro. You really overestimate our audience.
You severely. But yeah, like the Friday show was actually fairly busy this year. I was surprised. We actually had fairly good throughput, and like we pretty much, I think we killed one of the kegs of the Goza, and pretty much most of one of the ambers as well, which was interesting.
One of the pale ales, yeah.
Yeah,
I think we went through a fair amount. Yeah,
it was interesting doing the pour off the taps though, because you know me, militant me with my pours on the cup sort of thing. So like you can get 3 pours out of a small can or 4 pours out of a tall can, but with this stuff it was just like fill it to the brim every time, just like just make it easy. Though it was tight back there, I will say that.
Yeah, a lot more stuff behind the booth when you've got 4 kegs or 3 kegs sitting there and 2 bottles of CO2 and hoses everywhere. There's a more efficient way for us to set that up.
Yeah, I think we stashed a little bit more underneath the
I was
table.
trying to do that, but the height was like, it was pretty tight. Like you actually had to...
we were super tight.
Yeah.
Well, we probably don't need the 20-pound CO2 tank to push.
No.
So you could have the 1 5-pound rigged up to push 3 kegs.
Yeah.
Or 4 kegs. If we were able to do it all through one jockey box, that would save us room, because about half the problem was we had the one still in the fermenter on ice, which had to sit out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. If we can get either 2 2-tap jockey boxes or 1 4-tap jockey box, then I mean, we can make more efficient use of space, right? So
yeah, and if we get some kind of drip tray as opposed to a drip 40-gallon fermenter, that would save a lot of space as well.
Yeah,
that's just using what we had, man.
I know. You found a solution for it, but now we can innovate and improve.
Yes. But yeah, that was one of the things. I kicked it a few times. And I was like, no, get friggin' back here. Just drag it back into place. Yeah, and then so what? This is like the first time that we actually remembered to bring a thing for dispensing water.
Yeah, actually, would have been nice to have 2 of those.
One on
it would
each
have
side of the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one that I brought was a little too big. Like that was
that's fine.
A honking one. So you got to think about table space. Like we didn't have. If we have a second one, like maybe 2 smaller ones would be more like do it easily there. But the amount of people that came up and like had like some dark beer or had something they really, really didn't like, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll give you that, a rinse for you. And they're like, you do that? And they're like, yeah, like we actually do have it this year. It's awesome. And they're like, oh, thank you, because that last one was blah. So we're like, yes, we're able to cleanse your palate a little bit before you have this.
It's not even just that. It's just that you want them to taste our beer, not the collab from the class.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, this tastes a lot like that last beer I didn't like.
Yeah.
No, it's just the resin. It's the whiskey that's still in your glass that's tainted the last 4 beers that you've had. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, I should give a shout out to the Iron Hive Meadery. That stuff was good.
Oh,
The
yeah.
booth, they were just across from us.
us.
They were right across. I never did try any of their stuff.
Oh man, it was delicious. Dangerously
And
delicious.
And I was too late starting our little tradesies thing. They were all packed up and done by the time I started walking around.
Yeah. Well, we'll get a little bit closer to that on the Saturday night wrap up. But yeah, it was those who got out this year got out fast. But
yeah.
But speaking of our neighbors, we had the Beardly Co. I can't remember what their
It was Valhalla Beard.
Yeah, Valhalla Beard was beside us. So not a competitor or anything like that, but he was busy for a good chunk of the night. And on the other side, we had the Mike's Hard Lemonade people.
Who didn't have any lemonade. They had Mike's Hard
tea.
Creamsicle Sugar Bombs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Mike's Hard Iced Tea, different flavors.
Yeah, like that was the problem with their Creamsicle one. It's literally like you took a creamsicle, melted it down, and then just drank it. Like, delicious, but diabetes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure each little 4-ounce sample we tried had the equivalent sugar of a couple cans of Coke.
Yeah.
So
they gave me the regular iced tea one, and it was a sugar bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, they have a target audience.
Yeah.
18 to 25-year-olds running around all the time and can burn off the sugar. They were busy though. They always had a good lineup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially that first Friday night, it was the one guy all by himself, and he had like at a couple times he had like 12 to 14 people deep with him, and he was keeping up, like he was trying, but like man, oh man, was he just like inundated with young 20-somethings.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, Friday night was good. Saturday afternoon, I wasn't at most of that show, so how did that session go?
It was pretty good, actually. I thought it was pretty mellow. Like, a lot of people were very quiet, tame.
Yeah, it like apparently the numbers were quite good, but it wasn't boisterous. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
There weren't people rushing around trying to sample as many beers as they could or anything like that. There's a lot more lulls with us. Like, we'd get busy for like a good 2 to 3 minutes, and then we have a lull for 2 to 3 minutes sort of thing. So it was just like a little cresting wave the entire time. And then, yeah, you've already heard our mix up with the taps.
Yeah.
Yes, the mix up with the tabs and the one overpressured keg or overcarbed keg.
Well,
that was also an interesting.
Well, we kind of figured out what that was later. The reason why it was pushing foam is because the gas wasn't on.
The gas wasn't on.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah, somehow like it was hard to tell because the valve handle was actually broken.
Yeah.
So you couldn't see if it was on or off.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what it was. Like we like it looked like a low pressure situation, so we kept on turning up the pressure, but because the nib or whatever it was that was left of the valve handle had been pushed up, no gas was actually getting through. So after a little bit, and we burned a little bit, actually more than a little bit, trying to basically suss out what the hell it was, figured out that, yeah, like for whatever reason, it got bumped or something like that, had switched to the off position, and then we pulled it back down, and all of a sudden you hear gas just running back into the system. So what all the foam was basically like pretty low pressure, trying to push to like low or to atmosphere, and then basically it just was pushing foam. So that was the problem. It wasn't an overpressure situation. It was a
fair enough.
Crappy,
it was a liquid expansion problem as opposed to a overcarbonation problem.
Yeah. And it is a little sad that we had to me and Rob are again struggling to figure this out, and I managed to get a picture much too late to kind of fix that problem. Yeah. But it was later. It was like, no, there was literally no gas getting to it, so it was just what little PSI there was in there was trying to push out what it could.
Basically, it was whatever was from the keg.
Yeah,
whatever gas was in the keg was pushing it through.
So, but at the same time, it's old rental equipment. So,
well, yeah, it's a live and learn, get our own jockey box, and bring in our fancy old kegs that we know where the handle positions are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it was actually the little valve that comes like, on the regulator.
On the regulator down.
Yeah.
So it's usually just like that little metal bar, but yeah, it was broken.
And yeah, whatever nib was left on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the random Calgary kitchen I went into. It was like part of the event center staff, and I was like, I'm looking for a picture, and they're like, how big of a picture? I'm like, regular size picture. She came out and got me a nice one, and I did return it at the end of the night. But yeah, unfortunately, thought about that till too late, and the gas situation. But
that's okay. It
is what it is. Yeah, the watermelon Goza sold really, really well. Because by the midpoint of Saturday night,
it was delicious. Where's ours?
It's a very good question. I believe there's still 40 liters owed between the two of us.
Yes.
Smoke bomb.
He does that every time.
Yeah.
Boop.
Keeps throwing the ninja dust. Yeah.
No, I'll probably be making that because I'd use the puree for that batch for the show. So I think for your guys's, I'll be using there's you can buy watermelon juice, like pure watermelon juice, and I'll be using some of that for your guys's.
There should be
batches.
watermelons available now. One of my roommates just bought a watermelon.
There we go.
Ooh, early season watermelon then.
Yeah.
Well,
I believe they call those the blueberry watermelons.
Why do they call them blueberry
No,
watermelons?
sorry, I'm thinking bears.
Okay. Either that or where's our pepper beer?
Yeah.
One of the two.
That's coming after the watermelon goes.
Oh my god.
By
So another 2 or 3 years on that one.
yeah, it's something else.
Jesus.
That's fine. So I will say by the based on like my timelines and that, I'm probably looking by the end of June to have both my debts paid.
All right, time for another competition.
Indeed. Just keep stacking Steve's.
Just bury me. Just fucking just put me down.
The joke is we're supposed to do blind tasting, but the joke is we'll just like, this one is Steve's, say it's the worst.
That's supposed to be blind tasting, but it's just marked in right away. It's
Yeah.
like, this is Steve's beer.
What does this S mean? Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice because each of us, I was going to say for the Saturday afternoon show, each of us gave out tickets as well. So we had our various attendees show up. I had like my sister-in-law, and her new boyfriend, and Robbie had your
My sister and her boyfriend.
sister and her brother,
and another buddy as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Brendan, you had your brother and his buddy.
Two of his buddies, yeah.
Oh yeah, the second
One
one.
of which was actually working the Saturday evening show.
Yeah, that was super fun because he was actually originally supposed to be working the booth right beside us. He's supposed to be in the Mike's booth,
Yeah.
but then he got moved over to the Corona booth, and it was like, okay, that's fine. But
Yeah, I guess he works for Anheuser-Busch or works for Labatt. So
yeah,
I don't know what he does there. Maybe he just does trade shows, but
mm-hmm. But
interesting to see them. So yeah, no, it was good to see Matt there and share some of the beer and get some feedback on stuff. And of course, always fun to have friends and family around to help build up the brand.
Yeah. Well, your dad, Brendan's dad.
Dad was
to help
there
us
all
there
three
too.
shows. Yeah. He was
working the show.
the most dedicated.
Yeah, he made me feel bad.
You shouldn't feel bad.
Not on purpose, but he made me feel bad just because he was able to do all 3 shows and I couldn't do it.
So one of the key things that did happen at the end of the afternoon show is we borrowed an anti-fatigue mat from the Valhalla Beard guys. Because he had brought 2 for his booth, and he's like, well, I'm the only guy here today. You guys can have one. And man, does that make a difference.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a couple times where all 3 of us are like huddled on huddled on this one mat.
Yeah,
But the way I felt at the end of the Saturday show compared to the end of the Friday show, a world of difference.
yeah, I was feeling pretty sore by the Saturday, but like usually I feel worse, like way worse. So yeah, we definitely need to get one of those.
Scoop a couple, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So out of list. Oh, another nice thing about this show is they actually had lunch for the vendors between the Saturday afternoon and the evening shows.
Yes,
that was a great thing.
That was huge. That was the best. Oh, that reminds me, that was given to us by Spolumbos. I want to email them to say thank you.
Shout out to Spolumbos. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. They have fantastic sandwiches, and of course, it's always nice to get a free lunch. But when it's of that quality, that's just
Well, like
That's great.
it was funny because like they announced it because again we were like there was a talk of the sandwiches, but no one was really too sure. But then we were making plans to leave and go get something from again as we usually do. Then this big announcement comes on and goes, "Yeah, as soon as basically like people are cleared, head to this booth and get your sandwiches." And we show up and like I got like what my favorite is like the salami sandwich with like the roasted red pepper spread on it. Amazing. And we were actually able to go back for seconds because like it was way at the end, like almost before the next show started, And I went back and they're like, oh yeah, we've only got like 3 of these kinds of sandwiches left. They had 6 to start. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take another sandwich.
No, that was great. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, saved so much time and allowed us to actually like rest a little bit and just sit and like decompress for an hour. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
So not that Mark is listening to this, but Mr. Conrad, if you're listening to this, you need to arrange that for the next show as well, for the Edmonton, because that would be awesome.
It was awesome. I guess the next show is actually Banff, but
yeah, but I don't know, we might have, if we want to go to Banff or not.
We'll make that decision later. We haven't gone previously, but maybe this year's the year.
Maybe
if there's sandwiches. So that gets us into the Saturday evening show, which was busy, but not as busy as last year's Calgary show.
Was nuts.
Was insane.
Well, because I still remember like both of you guys pouring and me running back to the cooler every
2 or 3 times in a row. You'd bring 3 flats and be like, yeah, go back.
Yeah, go back, go get more. Like, yeah, it wasn't as busy. And like I kind of like at the end of the night when I was shaking the ticket container, I was like, it doesn't feel as heavy as Edmonton did. And Edmonton was one of the best shows we've done. Edmonton 2023 was one of the best shows we've done ever. So,
well, second to Calgary 2022.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and see, because Calgary, that Calgary show versus that Edmonton show, I don't know which one we were quote unquote more successful on. I think it was the Edmonton show. Yeah, like I think. But
could be.
Yeah, like it's hard to say. But like we ran out of the Goza, like we completely ran out of it, which was great, because we started getting a little graveyard of all the empty kegs we had, because we weren't taking them back out. And yeah, like we ended fairly strong, I think, overall. But
yeah, I think so. All in all, good show.
Yeah,
all in all, disappointing not to have the Flames on in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, they just had the Oilers on for a bit, and the Oilers ended early because they were down in Vegas.
Yeah, so that was a little too bad, but
yeah, that could have fueled a little bit more, like being.
That's right, because that was a 6:00 game, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was 5:30.
Was it 5:30?
Yeah, puck dropped right when VIPs started entering.
Yeah, so that means it would have ended around 7:30, 8:00.
Yeah, halfway through the show. So before anybody's even had a chance to get a little bit tipsy.
Yeah, it was very early.
But all in all, a good show, which brings us to the end of the show. So
I think we've mentioned before that loadout of Calgary is by far the worst of any of the loadouts that we've ever done. Because like Jasper is nothing. Like Jasper, you load up and you literally walk out with your stuff and you're like, okay, I'm done. You just walk out.
And honestly, you can do it the next day in Jasper.
And yeah, that's true.
They're come join the party. Load out tomorrow. We got nothing else going on here.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, it's like nice to be a little bit more relaxed. So you're not.
And then
because you're tired from kind of working the whole day, and then also you have to tear down and put everything away. It's kind of sucky, but
yeah. And then
Edmonton, at least they have like the bigger loadout area, which is separate from where all the
parking is,
and where all the people are loading out. And there's no like other arena that's immediately behind that loadout area that could be having an event at the same time that gets out at the same time.
That's right. Yes, because this time there was a Roughnecks game.
Yep.
Lacrosse game at the same time.
Calgary has all the problems. It's got a very small loadout area that exits into the parking lot for the Saddle Dome, which had a Roughnecks game that got out at the same time that loadout started.
Yeah. So like if there are some people that were ready to go. Like some people, when the 9:45 last pour thing happened, they got their stuff packed up right away, found a cart, and got the fuck out of Dodge. Like they just went, and all the power to them because they got out.
I guess your options are either try to get out really fast or just
accept that you'll be
and
there
wait.
for another hour.
Yeah.
Chill and then let the traffic subside.
And that's basically what happened to us. Is that like we were just hanging around because like we had someone to come pick up the jockey box, and we had a few other things, and Brendan went to go do tradesies, but a lot of the people broke down super fast and just like carried everything out to the parking lot and just went. So eventually Brendan, went and got his truck and tried to get back, to the loading dock area. And Brendan, how long did it take you to get to the loading dock area?
About 40 minutes.
Yeah, to go like 3 blocks.
Wow. I was parked on 11th, and I'm gonna actually measure it out here to see how far I actually traveled in those 40 minutes. It is not good.
There was lots of room in the parking lot that I parked in, which is lot 20, which is like
but that cost $15, and I'm cheap.
Mm-hmm.
It was worth it to me.
Well, in retrospect, it would have been worth it.
Yeah,
but I thought I was being super clever and saving a pile of money.
So, like, while Brendan's out trying to get back into the thing, me and his dad are still there. So we tear down what we can on the booth there. We take everything out and all that, and then basically we're just sitting there and we're like, "There's no trolleys. There's nothing for us to help like load things on and walk out." And there was a line, and this line was lining the one large bay in and out from the parking lot to the event center, and these people were just waiting for a trolley to come back, and there was only like maybe 10 total like methods to move it out without moving it yourself. So eventually, like, me and John moved everything from our booth to basically the staging area, waiting for one of the trolleys to come like ready. And by the time Brendan parked, which was like 11,
so it's 650 meters. We got our little. You had to get a little scan code to get access to the loading area. We got that at 10:20.
Which is still so, like, I hate that thing. I hate it so
stupid. So we got it at 10:20. On the ticket, it says your window is from 10:30 to 11. And in my mind, I'm like, great, it'll take me 5 minutes to walk to the truck, a minute to drive back, and then we're good to go. So 5 minutes to walk to the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Start it, turn around, 40 minutes to get into the back. 40 minutes to drive 650 meters.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, shit, I've missed the window on my ticket. Because it was after 11 by the time I pulled in there. Luckily, they didn't care even. Like, they're just like, yep, here you go, off you go. And
they know the situation. Like,
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but nobody's actively trying to be an asshole. And so got in and parked in not a parking spot.
And so this is about 11:15 at this point. So, like, at least at that point, like, we'd moved everything from the booth to the staging area essentially. So it was only like Brendan was a stone's throw away for us to like move stuff down and load it in. But we had to basically load Brendan's truck as full as possible. Like, your back seat was full, your trunk was full, your front seat was full. Like, it was everything that we could stuff into there. And then we had to get out of there with all this traffic still.
Now, granted, by the time we got out of there, traffic was much, much reduced.
True, but we were going to your house, and like we didn't get to your house until like 12:30.
Yeah, about that. No,
like
12. It was 12. It was midnight.
That was a little bit past by the time I showed up.
Maybe you were a little late.
Well, I took an alternate route because you said don't go on the 12th or 11th. I'm like, okay.
No, I didn't say anything about 11th. I said don't go on the 12th.
Oh yeah,
so I took 11th.
The whole thing.
The problem with 12th is that 12th is restricted for like 4 or 5 blocks, whereas 11th is actually pretty well set up to just get you up towards 9th or 6th.
And see, what I did is I took that went up past 9th and just got on the Memorial. I just took Memorial all the way home, or up to Crowchild, and took
Yeah,
pick it up from there.
This is an exciting podcast topic as we recount the
I
exact
know.
directions that we took to get home from the salad
Yeah, to bug out of
a
there.
week ago. Anyway, so loadout was a bit of a gong show, but we got out of there fine, got everything home and unpacked, and were able to have a couple quiet reflection beers in the back alley.
Yeah, sat on the back of the tailgate and had a couple beers and talked about the show and life and existence sort of stuff. Like we haven't had one of those in quite a while. Like we were just like no responsibilities, because like at this point I don't need to get home at any time. Like
because everybody who knows and loves me is asleep.
Exactly. So it's like, as long as I get home and get some sleep, because I have a party the next day, I'm fine. So yeah, just again had 2 beers on the back there or whatever, and just like sat and just shot the shit for a bit. It was nice.
That reminds me though, we forgot to make a mention here. We met the guys from Stony Slope Brewing on Friday night as we were packing up.
Yeah, that's right.
And the great thing about these guys is they listen to the podcast. So,
oh really?
That's what they said. Yeah,
he's one. The
like
father of the brewer.
One of our 20-some listeners.
I know he's one of our tens of listeners.
It was just we were kind of introducing ourselves and shaking hands and all that sort of stuff. And I'm gonna feel terrible because I don't quite remember their names, but they was like, "Oh yeah, Solutions Brewing. I listen to your podcast, guys." I was like, "What? Really? Cool." They're one of our greatest fans.
But he is one of the newest breweries as well.
Yes.
So let's do a little shout out to him, because they've been around for 6 weeks. He's got a tap room in Haysboro is that the southeast or southwest? I think southwest of Calgary.
Southwest.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where the demarc line is, but yeah, southwest of Calgary. And he had 2 very interesting beers at the show, both of which, Brendan, they're your antithetical. I can't speak. Antithetical beers. Since he had, I think it's pronounced Sati beer, which is a soured raw ale, which means it isn't boiled, and is instead flavored not by hops but by junipers. Very, very interesting beer. And he had a cherry sour made with real cherries. So they took like a whole bunch of cherries and just threw them in the vat. He was telling me it was sounded great, but personally, I liked both beers. Especially the Sati beer was very different.
They're in your wheelhouse for sure.
Exactly, they're my wheelhouse. Rob, what did you think? I don't know if you tried the sour, but you tried the Sati, didn't you?
I did try the Sati. I thought it was okay. I was a little worried when he told me that it had juniper in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like juniper. But that one was like there was a lot of other stuff going on, and like the juniper wasn't the thing that you taste like at the forefront.
Yeah,
it's more like a hop used in an ale or something like that. It's in there for balance as opposed to the prime ingredient.
Yeah, mm-hmm. So it was nice. I did enjoy it. I don't know if I could drink a full pint of it though. Like it was tasty, but I don't know if I would be able to crush a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say a pint. I don't know if I'd do 2 pints.
But they do have a number of other beers on their menu. And I'm sure he's going to be playing around with a bunch of new stuff kind of weekly. And it's an interesting approach going with some of the more like ancient or traditional recipes from different areas. So excited to see what he makes going forward.
I'm going to say we should do a podcast there, because that's not a bad spot to go.
Well, we're getting close to episode 100 here, so if we do if Brendan gives me the stuff in time, and I get the unicorn one, that'll be 97. This one that we're talking right now would be 98. So,
So we should do the next one there, because we'll probably miscount our 100 anyway. So
yeah, there's a good chance of that.
No, we'll add it to the list. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like the Calgary show, another one done. This is our third, I think, Calgary show we've done, and yeah, it's we'll be back for the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
So if anybody wants to tell us what they thought of our new and exciting beers that we brought to this Calgary show, or if they weren't able to come to the Calgary show and they want to find out where to buy some new and exciting beers from us, how would they let us know?
Rob.
I was going to say, like, it didn't lead up to anybody. You can go to our website, solutionsbrewing.com. There's a contact us page, which sends us an email. That email address is noproblems@solutionsbrewing.com. Or you can always hit us up on social media, Instagram and Facebook at Solutions Brewing Co.
And there we go.
There we go.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this week's episode, and until next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.